Time's expired. Resume your seat. Senator Minchin.
Thanks, Mr President. My question is also to the Minister for Broadband Communications and the Digital Economy, Senator Conroy. Further to Senator Feeney's question, I ask, how can the government possibly justify its irresponsible refusal to conduct a full cost-benefit analysis of its biggest infrastructure project, the $43 billion NBN Mark II proposal, despite its clear undertaking in last year's budget that, and I quote, "Where governments invest in infrastructure assets, it is essential that they seek to achieve maximum economic and social benefits determined through rigorous cost-benefit analysis."
The Minister for Broadband Communications and the Digital Economy,
Thank
Senator
you,
Conroy.
Mr President. Can I congratulate Senator Minchin on his question? Senator Minchin and those opposite prefer stunts, press releases and scare campaigns to actually developing a broadband policy. Stunts rather than a policy. To show just how—
Order. Senator Conroy, proceed.
To show just how disinterested Senator Minchin is in his own portfolio, he has Glenn Milne out there, Mr President, touting him around to get him promoted in his mind out of the portfolio.
I draw your attention to the question, Senator Conroy.
Thank you, Mr President. But unfortunately, Glenn Milne has belled the cat on Senator Minchin. He's not interested in a broadband policy. He's not interested in anything other than trying to call for more studies. Another cost-benefit
Senator
analysis.
Conroy, I draw your attention to the question.
Cost-benefit analysis, Mr President. It was part of the question. Cost-benefit analysis because it's a cover for 11.5 years and 18 failed broadband plans. They couldn't take up at least one reasonable broadband plan put forward by those in the National Party. They at least understood the benefits. But no, Senator Minchin has decided to be as lazy as he can be, see if he can get Glenn Milne to write him out of the portfolio. He needs a promotion. He needs a promotion, Mr President, so that he can go back to advising Mr Turnbull. He needs more help than you can give him, Senator Minchin. Even you couldn't help him.
Senator Conroy, address your comments to the Chair. You've got 21 seconds remaining.
Thank you. While the opposition may choose to ignore the facts around the benefits of broadband, the cold, hard reality is that the response to the NBN right across consumer groups, the business sector and the telco sector has been overwhelmingly positive.
Order. Your time's expired. Senator Minchin.
Thanks, Mr President. I know Senator Conroy is stressed because Adelaide's going to beat Collingwood on the weekend, but I do ask him why the government continues to refuse a full cost-benefit analysis of its $43 billion NBN proposal when its own Treasury Secretary Ken Henry said just last week, and I quote, "Government spending that does not pass an appropriately defined cost-benefit test necessarily detracts from Australia's well-being."
The Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. Well, as he said, Senator Minchin and his cheer squad simply want to avoid facing up to having to develop a broadband plan. What we're seeing again is just lazy press releases, no broadband plan. And let me be clear, we intend to deliver our election commitments. We are exceeding.
Senator Conroy, just resume your seat. When we have silence, we will proceed. Senator Conroy.
Thank you, Mr President. We are exceeding our election commitments with the plan that we are currently implementing. We are exceeding it. And as the CEO of Foxtel, Kim Williams, pointed out in his recent National Press Club speech, I think most of the response to the broadband initiative has been positive. And in fact, most of the negative commentary has really come essentially of a political nature rather than in terms of the operators and the landscape. Optus CEO Paul O'Sullivan has said—
Order. Your time's expired. Senator Minchin.
Thanks, Mr President. I ask, is the Minister aware that respected economic consultancy Concept Economics conducted a rigorous cost-benefit analysis of the proposed NBN, which finds that its costs would exceed its benefits by between $14 billion and $20 billion? Doesn't this finding necessitate a full cost-benefit analysis by the government before it borrows up to $40 billion to pay for its optical fibre rollout?
Order. The Minister. The Minister.
Mr. President, the whole premise of that question was false. The government is not going to be borrowing $40 billion. We've made it absolutely clear. We have made it absolutely
Just
clear.
resume your seat. Resume your seat. The time for debating these issues is at the end of question time. Senator Conroy, continue.
And as for the respected economic commentators, Concept Economics, they are the advisers you hired for your tax policy that's vanished without trace. And frankly, they should take this analysis and put it in the same place you put their tax advice.